Recording in progress.
Hello, everybody. We finally made it.
Yes.
Whew. So, after 10 minutes of frantically pressing buttons, the girls have made it. The Haunted Auckland Girls are online. We apologize for being late. We are really looking forward to talking to you guys all tonight and having a chance to talk to our COVID locked down little buddy across the ditch. We will. Oh, we just need someone to turn that sound off. We will have a little chat with him, and yeah, you're going to have to put up with his sheep jokes, I'm afraid. So we would like to introduce Paranormal Paul. He is going to be chatting about all sorts of questions that you guys have sent in to us. So without further ado, we'll admit him from the waiting room where he's been sat waiting very patiently. And hopefully he's on his way in.
We will have a
Hello, Paranormal Paul. Oh no, we got no sound. Oh no.
He's
Disaster.
muted.
Oh, you're muted. Try now. No, still no sound. Well, that's no good. We had sound before. Oh, hang on.
Oh, did you mute him?
I might have muted him. Let's try now.
Oh.
Have we got any sound, Paul? No. Okay. Well, while we make the most of the fact we've got an Australian who's really quiet right now. So he's going to see if he can actually get his sound working. So we have spoken to Paul a couple of times on his show, The Supernatural Show, which plays in the evenings, 10 o'clock.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
There he is.
Hello.
Hello, how you going?
Good. So he's on KCFM in Melbourne on Friday nights.
That's exactly right. Now, you said you had some technical issues before. I've told you before, do not use the New Zealand satellite. Very, very unreliable. Now, we were chatting earlier, so just a couple of things you want to get through. When this lockdown's over, and you can thank us very much here in Australia for your lockdowns. We love sending you over the Rona. Good friend of ours. We love passing him around, and you get to stay at home and spend time with your lovely partners.
I have to say, it's not fair. We gave you PAV, we gave you Far Lap. We almost gave you Split Ends, and you give us the Rona.
Oh, you've given us some great music, and don't forget Dave Dobbin and the band. The Slice of Heaven, what a fantastic song that is. And now I just wanted to let you know I'm coming over to New Zealand very shortly when Rona's over. I'm coming to a couple of weddings over there.
Okay.
So I thought I'd just check with you ladies that this is all okay. So I went shopping today, and hopefully this is the right attire. I've got my wedding shoes here.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully they're good. And then I'm going to a place that's very posh. And they told me I've got to upgrade. So this place is called, I'm just checking, Pawanui. Have I pronounced it right there?
You did a great job.
All right. And I've got some the updated ones here. Is that okay? Apparently that's what you wear there. And then afterwards at the after party, I've upgraded here as well. And I've got my jandals. And as you can see, they're Adidas ones. So I really got high quality. I believe that's going to fit me in well. And once the couple decide that they're going to have kids, I've already organised their kids' very first present. So hopefully I've done everything right here. I don't like to upset you New Zealand people because we're not far away. Did you know that where I am in Melbourne, it's actually closer to get over there to New Zealand than it is to Perth? And cheaper.
Wow.
Now the other thing is, Tasmania. You obviously know where Tasmania is. Yes. We call the people in Tasmania New Zealanders that can swim. So hopefully that all makes sense. Now, just so you know, I've realised now why Aimee has got the stranger voice, but she's actually a pom.
Yes.
Right. So
she's,
she really
she's trying to
knows.
be. She's trying to be more New Zealand than a New Zealander.
Oh, it's very much like that. And she likes to say "Posh and chops" better than anyone else. And on the weekend, I would like to share to you that I really wanted, knowing I'm coming on here, I really wanted to get into the New Zealand spirit. I went and brought a box of Cody's, and I got extremely munted, and I had them in the chili button, and
Nice.
they kept nice and cold. And today, to get really excited for this and to get really pumped up, I've watched every single episode of the last 3 years of Police 10-7.
Oh.
So I am ready to go.
New Zealand finest on TV.
Oh, they're rippers
Every
on
Thursday
there.
night.
Yeah,
Every Thursday night.
Oh, we get it. We get it here every night, 11 o'clock Australian time. On obviously you have Foxtel in New Zealand.
No.
You don't have Foxtel.
No,
Foxtel's
no.
like our paid TV for us rich people,
Ah.
and obviously you don't get Foxtel in New Zealand because
We're not rich.
yeah, you don't. The guy on the bike doesn't pedal fast enough to give you that much electricity. So it's very. We have the finest New Zealand TV shows. We have Border Security.
Oh yeah.
A fantastic show, and of course, a few years ago we had that great show, Outrageous Fortune.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Oh, and how good was that? Pascal, what a lovely lady she is.
Oh.
Very, very, very well loved here by the Australian people. And you know, some people in New Zealand, I heard, actually believed that the two guys that was the one actor were actual twins. Yeah.
No, he's done amazing things, and he's obviously gone on to go star in some big American stuff now. So
He
quite cool.
actually he has. And let me tell you, Sam Neill is very much Australian now. He lives here, so we'll claim him as well. All right,
You can have Russell Crowe.
yeah, you've
That's
already got
freebie.
Russell
Really?
Crowe. Yeah, he's a Kiwi.
I know, but you just said we could have him.
Yeah.
He owns the rugby team here. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rabbitohs.
The Rabbitohs.
But it's
that's
not real
exactly
rugby.
right.
It's not real rugby anyway. It's
Oh,
not
you're
union.
a union girl. Now, can I just quickly say as well, we have a sport here called AFL football, Australia Rules Football.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, was it Australia rules?
Australia
rules.
Yeah.
And it's called the AFL, the Australian Football League. Now, for all you lovely New Zealand people that are tuning in, this is the team to barrack for, right? The Richmond Tigers. All right, they won the last 3 premierships in the last 4 years. And if you push the little button here, you can actually hear the theme song. We're from Tigerland. Absolutely magnificent. So that's the team you tell everyone you barrack for, the Richmond Tigers.
Right. We can do that.
Oh, excuse me. I'll show you what that is later. So anyway, I've done my New Zealand gags. Please tell me what you said before about why you have the New Zealand names that are very hard to say, like Waikikamu cow. There's a reason for that, isn't there?
Yeah, it's to stop you Australians.
Aussies stealing.
Yeah.
Right. No, well, that's the western suburbs people in Sydney. Places called Redfern and Parramatta, who you're talking about, not us good people down here in Melbourne.
No.
In the southeastern suburbs. So, but ladies, in all seriousness, I'm absolutely excited to be on here. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm nervous as anything because usually I'm the interviewer, but now I'm the interviewee, and I'm worried about what you're going to ask me.
Well, we believe the saying maybe that we're going to give you a fair suck of the sauce bottle. I don't know. We've heard that this is an Aussie saying, so
that's a very old one.
No.
But I like that one. I think you've been watching Home and Away too much. You've been listening to Elf. It's
he's a
flaming
big
mongrels.
Big galah.
Is he still alive? Is Alf still alive?
Oh, Elf's still kicking goals. He's on Home and Away. I haven't watched it for about 38 years, but he's still there every night if you really want to watch it. I must say too that I'm a little bit concerned that you can see me because I do say to all my friends I've got a great head for radio. Now that I'm actually on a video, I'm concerned.
There's not too much glare. It's fine.
Oh, there we go. I was waiting for it. I love it. So when did you get power again? Was it 2004?
We might be about to lose it the way
it's
it's going
been-
with Transpower at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the rugby is just causing some friction at the moment. You guys not telling us in person, but going on a TV station and saying you're not coming. Very rude. Not that I really care. I don't like rugby. But very, very, very rude of you. But you did very well in the Olympic Games. Well done.
And we're doing
Well,
really well in the Paralympics too, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
the Paralympics we're kicking ass.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you guys are getting it over there as we are, which is fantastic. But that great rowing lady, for if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't have won a gold medal. But
Lisa Carrington,
fantastic.
yeah.
Lisa
That's
Carrington?
her. Now, I
Lisa.
believe that she is Australian.
No,
No.
No.
I've looked back into her past,
she's
into her
part
ancestry.
Māori. You can't have it.
No. She's fourth generation Australia. I know that for a fact. So we're going to claim her.
Okay. So long as you don't
So,
take Dame Valerie, you're okay. We're all good.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, she's our amazing shot putter. And her sister
Oh,
is the Paralympic shot putter as well. That just
Right.
got a medal as well. So,
I'm actually surprised you've got a good shot putter.
oh,
Just because to actually find a big grassy area that hasn't got sheep on it, because I'm sort of thinking she'd be throwing it and donging one on the head.
wow.
No, we train them to bring it back so she doesn't have to walk and get it.
That's fair. I like that. Now, hopefully your New Zealand friends can understand my accent.
Well, we can put subtitles on the bottom for everyone.
Yeah, we can put capture on.
We can. Have you ever seen that some of those shows you watch overseas and they've got an Australian or a New Zealand person on, they actually do put subtitles? It's actually quite offensive, isn't it?
Yeah. Even better when they're wrong. That's
Yeah.
more fun.
And you also know that when we travel overseas, a lot of us Australians say we're New Zealanders, especially when we're causing trouble. And I get kicked out of a pub. Oh, by the way, I'm a Kiwi. Yeah. And it works a treat because we do sound the same at the end of the day, except Aimee.
Except me. Yeah.
Except
Sorry,
you.
guys. Yeah.
So, shall we start with our questions?
Let's
So we're
go.
not any nervous anymore.
No,
Yeah,
that's cool. So we got a whole lot of our followers to send us through some questions. So we're just going to share their questions.
No worries.
So I'll start with your first one. We'll soften you into it, eh?
All right.
So what is your background and how did you first get into paranormal stuff?
My background. Okay, so from a very young age, I was always interested, and there was a very old show that some people, I'm 52, and some people might remember this show, was actually narrated by a gentleman called Leonard Nimoy, who, of course, is Star Trek fame. And it was a program called In Search Of. Now, I don't know whether New Zealand ever, Amy's nodding. And they went into the most, like they had Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and UFOs and all that. And I used to sit there and watch that and be absolutely crapping myself, but also in complete awe. So I've always sort of been interested in it. And probably up to about 8 years ago now, these shows came on Australian TV, which we've all seen, the Australian ghost hunting shows. And I thought, wow, there's people who actually go out and do this and use technology. So I just sort of bought a few gadgets myself and went out with a couple of friends and got right into it and joined a couple of groups, which I'm sure that you people in the paranormal industry know that usually some groups don't last very long for various reasons. And H.A.Gs is usually a good one. And I sort of got out of there pretty quick and realised that's not the normality of this industry, and found a couple of really good groups. Then I started running some paranormal tours at a haunted location about 3 hours out of Melbourne. And I've been on radio for a few years doing other shows, and then I come up with the idea of the Supernatural show, put it to the committee, and they just came back and said no other live radio shows, not a podcast, but live radio shows in Australia. So go for it. And we did a couple of pilots and it worked well. And unfortunately not on air at the moment due to lockdown, but have quite a big following every show, to the fact we've got quite a few hundred listeners. And I count myself as very, very, very lucky.
It's awesome.
Excellent. So the next question that we have is, what are your thoughts on how paranormal research is portrayed in the media, good and bad?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
We eased you in.
Yeah,
We did.
we gave you the soft one.
I don't think
Yeah, we go to the easy one
I don't
first.
think New Zealand people would be smart enough to come up with a question like that. That's actually come from overseas. That's come from one of my friends in Australia, isn't it? Portrayed in the media. Well, I've got a good answer to that. Did you know that about 3 months ago in America, they did a survey and asked, and I asked something like 4 million people, 4 billion people, how many believe in the paranormal and ghosts, and especially, and 51% said they're believers. So I think now, probably because of these TV shows and because of people like you and me and that's putting it more out there, I think the portraying is good, and it's probably making people more believers. A lot of people maybe have seen stuff, heard stuff, and went, "Oh, I don't know what's going on here." But now they've thought, you know what? I think that was something not from this world. So here in Australia, it's probably portrayed very well. You still get your non-believers, and I've got quite a few friends that still don't believe. But of course, when you say, "Hey, I'm going to a haunted location," why don't you come along and see what you think? And they straight away go, "Oh, no, I'm too scared." Well, why are you too scared if you don't believe in it? So my answer to that would be it's portrayed in a positive way.
I think it's
They
definitely...
still think we're all crazy, and we are. You have to be in this industry. But I think it's taken seriously.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, Barbara's turn.
Barbara's a scary one.
I'm having a really good experience.
We're losing you, Barbara.
Yeah, you can hardly hear me either.
Yeah.
We can hear you now. So you need to lean forward, I think.
Interviewed on air.
Sorry, I struggled to hear you there, Barb.
She said, "Who are some of your favourite guests you've interviewed on air?"
Oh, you girls.
We put that one in so you say that.
Look, I love all my guests. Anybody that's involved in the paranormal world is more than welcome on my show. But probably my favourite ones are the more well-known ones. And I'm sure you know of a gentleman who I know. I'm a bit of a fan of his and a follower of his, and admire him for what he's done in the paranormal world. I believe he stalks me a bit, and he's a bit of a fan of mine now, which I'm quite chuffed about. And this is a guy called Alan Tiller, who was on a show in Australia called Haunted Australia. Haunting Australia, which actually went to commercial TV here, 7:30 on a weeknight, and it had about 10 episodes. And he's from Adelaide in South Australia. Wonderful, wonderful gentleman. You probably have seen him. He's got very long hair. Very, very well known in the paranormal industry here in Australia. Love the bloke. He's got some fantastic stories to tell. Been all around the world investigating. As you are aware, there is no expert in this field. Absolutely no one, and he never claims to be an expert, but he's got some amazing things to tell. And also another gentleman called Bill Tabone. I don't know if you know Bill. He is very, very, very well known here in Australia. He's a regular on my show. In fact, I only live about 20 minutes from Bill. And I better say this. There's a lovely lady by the name of Sula, or Raven, who is the head of Paranormal Adventures Australia, who is one of the most respectful groups here in Melbourne, and most credible. And I actually got asked about 3 months ago to join them, which I absolutely chuffed about. And I have Sula on. She's a demonologist as well, so I have Sula on quite often. But, and I'm not going to say I'm pissing in your pocket here, you ladies are just absolutely a ray of sunshine when you come on my show, and that's why I've had you on a couple of times already, and we've already got another show lined up shortly. We have a good laugh, and we share a lot of common interests. And if I can say, we've got an upcoming show where you're going to talk about some folklores and legends of New Zealand, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. So yeah, they're probably been my favourite guests. Another one that comes to mind is a gentleman called Neil Waters down in Tasmania, who has just daily goes out looking for the elusive Tasmanian tiger. And he recently produced a photo which looked like it could have been a juvenile one. He's got game cams everywhere. and a lot of commercial TV shows and that contacted him and said, come on. And he didn't want to because he believes people make a bit of fun of him. I contacted him, let him know what I do, and he said, I'd love to come on. And I had an exclusive interview with him. That was amazing. So they're probably the main ones that come to mind.
Cool.
And that wasn't set up to your guest for me to say that to you girls. I'm honestly saying that.
So if we're looking at Australia, what are some of the cool and haunted places that maybe you've investigated or anything over there that if we were to come over, where should we be going?
Oh, wow. That's a very good question as well. Here in Melbourne or regional Victoria, we have probably some of the best, and I'm not saying that because I live here, but we do. There's a place called Monte Cristo in New South Wales, a place called Junee. I have not been there yet. It's sort of out in the middle of nowhere. That is regarded as Australia's most haunted location. Every single time people have been there, something will happen, whether you feel something, see something, smell something, you get touched, you hear a voice, you name it, it happens there. Then there's a place which is about just over 3 hours east here of Melbourne called Arradale in Ararat, which is an old lunatic asylum. Have you ever seen a picture of it? It is the most amazing place. And as soon as it's up on a hill, and as soon as you drive up to it, you get out of your car and you think, wow, and you just sense so many things. And that's just not being a medium or a sensitive. Everybody that goes there feels something. That's really, really good. I've been there a couple of times and some amazing things have happened there. Old Portrayed Jail, which is the old jail here in Melbourne, where I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Chopper Reed. He was like Ned Kelly, a more updated one, where he used to go out. The rumours were he killed all the bad people for the police, and he didn't get charged for a lot of murders and stuff like that. And he used to get very light sentences for some of the things he did, but all the drug lords and that got off the street very quickly and disappeared when he was around. That's very, very haunted. I've been there also a couple of times. Old Fremantle Jail in Perth is also meant to be very, very haunted. But you know what it's like? You can go to some of these places, or other people can, and walk out and go, hey, nothing happened. I didn't feel anything. I didn't see anything. But the fun of doing this is you hear about the history and you get to go into these places and you just think about all the different people that walk past the spot where you are and did things there. That's the amazing part of what we do as well. Again, they're the ones that come off the top of my head. I've probably missed some. Opera House in Sydney is meant to be haunted by an opera singer there. We also have some very, very good cemeteries around here in Melbourne. You've basically, as you know, a lot of these places you pay to go in to investigate, and we're not rich being paranormal investigators, so we don't always have the good money to do that. But I'll just pack up my gear and go to a couple of cemeteries and quite often find some unexplainable things that happen.
Cool. Thank you.
Why ghosts hang around cemeteries, I don't know. That's certainly, when I die and you want to come looking for me, don't go to the cemetery, because I guarantee you I won't be there.
No, that's always been my thought as well. I'm like, there's way better places to go than the cemetery.
Yeah, but you've probably been to cemeteries as well and gone, oh my God, did you hear that? Did you see that? My experience is I can go to a cemetery, maybe it's on a full moon or a very well lit night, and just sit back. And if you, I don't know if it's a trick of the eye, but I've got a lot of people that saying the same thing. Just look at the gravestones. Maybe it might have a seat or something at the top of it, and quite often you'll see shadow figures darting between graves. Just try it one night, whoever's listening in. It's fascinating. It's a trick of the eye, maybe, I don't know, but it's quite often it happens.
Sounds good. You ready for your next question?
Oh, you're scaring me now. Excuse me.
If you had the opportunity to investigate anywhere in the world, what would your top 3 places be and why?
Oh, that's a great question.
You writing these down for your show?
Yeah.
Well, do you have American friends that listen in?
Mark does. Mark has loads of
Yes.
friends around the world. So
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Because I'm not a big fan of America. And I
No.
say that because it's not a place I would travel to a lot. But there are some amazing places I want to go there. Gettysburg would be probably the top of my list. The stories you hear from there because of the old battlefields, people see stuff, hear stuff all the time. No particular castle in Scotland, but some of those are just so old. And again, the history is absolutely incredible. So I'd love to maybe do a whole lot of them in a week or something like that. And yeah, I've got to go back to America. Waverly Hills Lunatic Asylum. How many shows have we seen? And that place is extremely active. But also, I believe in a lot of paranormal stuff. So if I could somehow even get close to Area 51, what's the name of that hilltop near there? It's left me,
It's
but
near,
you can.
near Groom Lake. I don't think you're allowed on the hilltop anymore.
It's got a strange name, Piticky Peak or something.
Yeah. I think that's an exclusion zone now.
It is, because a lot of people used to go up there and see stuff. And that's what my show's all about as well. We just don't concentrate on ghosts. We do. There's been a lot of yowie sightings lately in the southeast of Queensland, and you call them something else in New Zealand. What you call it? It's a big hairy man, but you call him something else.
The Mohau
That's
Mohau
him.
man.
Mohau man. That's him. Lately, because a lot of places have been locked down in COVID. A lot more places don't have less traffic, less people wandering through. Maybe they're coming out a little bit more to say, hey, where are you all? And there's also around the world been a lot of different and close-up UFO encounters. If you've been sort of hearing, same again, a lot less planes in the sky. Maybe they're going, what's going on? It's a bit quiet up there, and they're coming in a bit closer to have a look. So
even the paranormal reporting, there's a lot more people saying that they're encountering things in their homes and that sort of stuff because they're home and it's quieter and they're paying attention.
Exactly right. And they say that is it the cemetery they call it is very low in the
Vale.
World at the moment. The Vale is very low. And look, I can actually, if you cross that, I'll show you something here. I don't know if you can see. I had a couple of scratches here the other day, right here. Sorry. You've probably had the same thing where you've gone somewhere and investigate, and sometimes one of them has decided to follow you home. Has that happened to any of you three ladies?
I had a potential experience in my house, which I thought was a little girl that had followed me home. So I actually had to tell her, stay away from my daughter's room. You can go play in that room, but not here. Because my daughter all of a sudden started talking about there's a ghost in our house. And she'd never said any of this before. And I'm there going, no, there's not. Mummy's a paranormal investigator. I would know, going, okay, let's deal with this.
Now, Aimee, I can say to you, in my experience, I could say why a young child would follow you home. And you probably are thinking the same thing I'm thinking because of what we do. I believe that I've had a couple of them follow me home. And I had one instance where definitely things were going on and a young teenager was here. And I did the stupid thing of being arrogant one time and completely forgot to leave a location and say, as I always do before I drive off, you are to stay here. You are not to follow me home, right? This is your place. I completely forgot. And for the next week, we had some crazy stuff going on here. And even, again, I never say what happens is paranormal because we're not an expert, but I saw something and I got a good look of what I thought was this young man. Anyway, I had to go and get cleansed. But the last few days I've been, and I don't want people to get scared in any way of this, to freak them out, I've been getting some unusual scratches on me, on my arms. And I don't have long nails. I'm a nail chewer. So it wasn't from that. And I contacted Sula and said, hey, showed her the picture. She said, cleanse your house. Now, this can happen quite often because what we do, the feeling gets out there to these entities, and they may feel attached to us. And this could have been one passing through or whatever, sees the equipment, hears us talking about it. We watch the shows, we do this stuff. They go, oh, this is interesting. So I cleansed the house, and I was struggling to sleep. And the next 2 nights, I had the 2 best sleeps I had in such a long time. So anyone that's listening in, it can happen. Don't think you're going crazy. Don't think you're going silly. Just because you've got unusual scratches on you doesn't mean it's happened. But just sometimes you can feel a bit uneasy. And as you said before, Aimee, trust your gut instincts, because sometimes there is something going on. And especially if you've got children, it's not fair for them. And, just because they're talking to someone, don't go, oh, it's the old imaginary friend phase. Well, where did that ever actually come from?
Yeah.
So, but don't get scared, people. It can happen and easily get fixed. I have been told by some great sources that whenever you feel that way, or you feel scared for you or your family or anyone, and you don't have to say it aloud, you can say it to yourself. I generally say it out loud. You just ask for Archangel Michael's help to protect you and your family. You don't have to be religious. Just believe in what he can do, and that generally works. Do you ladies use that same philosophy?
To some extent. There's certain little rituals that I think we all do over here. In New Zealand, there are a lot of Māori sort of rituals and things as well. So once you've gone through something like this, you're what's called tapu, and you need to return to noa. So you need to often use water to cleanse. And so often a lot of what I do is before I go, I will have a shower, and part of that shower is feeling the sort of the warmth and the white light protection that's coming from it. And then afterwards, again, you use the water for a similar thing to sort of cleanse, I suppose, and that sort of thing. So everyone's got their own little different thing, I think.
As long as you believe in it, it will work.
I know there have been times that Natasha has not been allowed back in the house until her partner has saged her down and stuff.
I
Really?
get saged before I walk in the door,
Really?
which is fine. Yeah.
That's good.
Her partner's wonderful. Yeah.
Yep. I think I saw on social media, Natasha, that your partner had an operation or something recently.
Yeah, the day before lockdown, she had carpal tunnel surgery on her dominant hand.
Oh, jeez.
And that was a bit interesting because the hospital was on the list and it was taken off the list, but we both got tested and we're both negative, so it's
good.
It's all good.
Damn it! There's one I didn't pass it on to.
We're doing well. No one in the team.
I know we're the dirty ones that infect you. I know. So we blame Sydney here in Melbourne. But yeah, with that, whatever you believe in will work. That belief will overcome the negative entities. And some people, when there's, we call it being attacked. It's whichever way you want to use that word. It doesn't necessarily mean they're evil or from the dark place down below, which we don't say. But they might be just an upset, negative energy for whatever reason. And if you believe in what you're doing, you can easily distinguish them from your life, and they'll come and go.
Yeah, they may not even be negative. They may be just trying to get your attention, and they've been like yelling and screaming. And there's that meme where you could have a ghost break dancing behind you in the background. You wouldn't know. So when they touch you and stuff, that's just their way of saying, "Oh, hello, I'm here."
Very, very well said. And then, of course, when it happens, we'd like it to happen. But when it does happen, we absolutely freak out.
Not all of us. Only if your name's Zach.
Yeah, and you're always possessed.
It just took me like 3 seconds to work out who you're talking about. And I actually, funny you say that, I watched one last night. They went to the farmhouse of where The Conjuring was all about. Have you seen that episode? I don't know whether it's a new one or not.
Yes, ironically, Cal and I were watching that yesterday. Well, I was watching it on and off. It was like 2 hours worth, wasn't it? 2 hours.
My lovely wife was watching it. She sort of believes in a lot of this stuff. And after about an hour and I think it was 15 minutes, she said, I can't watch anymore. When that guy was sitting in the kitchen and he started to rock and he was punching the table.
Yeah, the
she
brother.
Said, yeah, she said, nah, he's acting. And I went, well, is he? Well, we don't know. We're not there. So we don't know whether he, but she said, that looks too fake to me. I'm out of here. So, look, Ghost Adventures is good. I don't mind it. Are they throwing mayonnaise on a lot of it? Would never know. No. And I think I've told you before, I love kindred spirits. I love Aimee and I love Adam. And I think that they're the real deal. But again, in any of these shows, who knows? Only we know ourselves, and we put evidence out there that we know it's real. And people might say that we're not producing real evidence.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Everyone's gonna critique and debunk everybody else's stuff, aren't they? So.
And we've all seen and heard stuff which quite often we don't capture on camera or on audio, and it's just so annoying and frustrating. Some of my best evidence has been when I've been setting up or packing up. It's like they're playing with you and something will happen. You go, damn, could you have just done it when I had the camera on? But you know exactly what I'm talking about there. It is frustrating.
It happens just after your battery goes flat.
Yeah. They drain your battery and bang, something will happen.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's at least you can always tell the people that believe you, and it's always a good story to tell.
So, what would you say is the most compelling evidence that you found?
That I've experienced myself.
Or members of your team or something.
Okay, when I first got into this, we stayed in a haunted location, and I wasn't really much of a scaredy cat, and this particular experience has made me scared about staying in rooms alone now. I was on a blow-up mattress just on a room with the doona on me, and I woke up in the middle of the night and felt somebody in the room, heard a noise. Next thing you know, the doona just was pulled off me. And I screamed. It freaked me. And a lot of people said, oh, you were half asleep and kicked it off. No, this thing was dragged off me. And I jumped up and I felt some pressure on my leg as if somebody was trying to hold me down. And I ran out of that room screaming. And of course, everyone else in the place thought it was hilarious. So now I've actually, if I go to a location, I'll actually say to people, I will only stay in a haunted location in a room if somebody is within eye shot of me, because that scared the living bejeebers out of me. I still get shivers talking about it because that was just crazily unexplainable. I've caught some fantastic Class A EVPs. We've all heard an EVP when you play it 30 times and then 30 people get different opinions of what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
We were at a place called Kilmore Jail, if you've heard of that, which is just out of Melbourne, a very, very old jail. And they had a mannequin which had an old, very old-fashioned jacket on, and apparently that was the jacket that the executioner used to wear before he shot or hung particular inmates that had got the death penalty. And I misheard the person telling us, and I thought it was the person that was getting executed wore the jacket. So we were in this room talking about it, and I said, we had the recorder playing, and I said, so tell us about the jacket that the person that was getting executed used to wear. And the most amazing EVP came straight after, like somebody was talking right into the microphone, and you hear, that's not what I see. Now, you think about the 1880s and that these days I'd say that's a load of crap, but you think of the language they would have used back there, very politely saying, that's not what I see. That was an amazing EVP, absolutely incredible. And seeing shadow figures, I'm yet to have the evidence where I've walked into a room and there's a full-on ghost looking at you. That's the magic evidence, and that's what we're all looking for. I'm yet to capture that or see that. probably the most I've actually got AVP knocks. When you do a knock and you'll get an answer back, that's always an amazing response. Knowing that you've got a very oh God, it's late at night. What's the word I'm looking for?
Intelligent.
Interactive.
Intelligent. Thank you. The intelligent entity that wants to communicate with you.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of gadgets. Some of them I like to use, some of them I don't. But as I've said to you ladies before, a lot of this investigation's been going on for years. They didn't have gadgets. So your ears and your nose and your eyes are the best investigation tools you'll ever have. Just go into a room, turn the lights off and sit in there for 10 minutes. It's amazing what you'll hear.
I think going back to sort of Harry Price and Hans Holzer and that sort of stuff, the traditionalists, is great. There is a lot of technology out there today, and it actually blurs what you're doing. You're so busy looking at flashing lights and looking at changing numbers, you're not experiencing it and really intuitively feeling the place, I think.
Right. And the time you might be looking down, turning your device on, is the moment if you're looking up, you might have seen something.
I agree, because you have all this equipment going off and you don't know, what's doing what. And even just noises like shuffling around and, taking photos, and that just distracts from everything. And you might actually, cover whatever was there with a noise, so you don't actually capture anything.
And I mean,
exactly.
A lot of people are quite keen on the spirit boxes these days, but I'm still not, because I feel that it leads you down a path. It brings you a word, and then you try and fit that word to the situation, and you go down this tangent. Meanwhile, you're not actually listening and doing everything else, because suddenly it said water and you're thinking, oh, somebody's drowned or whatever else. And I would much rather use other methods.
I like that. And remember, a spirit box, it's totally going through radio stations. So you might be hearing a DJ like me. Why would you waste your time listening to me? But I might be talking about something and it comes through, and you might be going, oh my God, did you hear that? But in saying that, I was at a cemetery not long ago, and we were at a grave which was a lady reverend that had been buried there, and we were quite interested that a reverend being a lady, they're not very common. So we thought, and being a spiritual person, we thought, let's try and communicate with her. You never know. And we had the K2 meter lighting up to questions, and through the ghost box, I did have her say, clear as day, come through in a lady's voice, I am the Reverend. Now, that was pretty compelling evidence, because you wouldn't expect a DJ to say on a radio station, I am the Reverend. And we all looked at each other straight away and said, oh my God, did you hear that? We all said, it said, I am the Reverend. Happy to pass that on to you. I know it's on my phone because it's very recent. I'll pass it on to you girls, and
that
you
would
can
be
have your
awesome.
own opinion of that. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be cool to hear.
A lot of evidence I've captured has been with groups, and a lot of our groups, we don't like to share our evidence because other people can use it. I don't know what your feelings are. I mean, you can put copyright or whatever of this, but people will still use it and go, oh, this was us. I've seen it happen, and it's not fair. So if anything I capture myself or just with friends and not part of a paranormal group, I'm always happy to share. So I'm more than happy to pass it on to you. That was an amazing thing. Have you all been touched? I had my one time when I was touched. That freaked me. Packing up equipment at the end of the night, lights were on in a big hall, and I was right down the end where the camera was facing the doorway. So there's no way someone could have touched me and ran out without me even seeing or even hearing them on floorboards. And I was right down in the corner, and I distinctively felt a tap on my shoulder. And I thought it was one of my other investigators, and turned around and went, oh, no way. And I did the, seriously, you're doing that now as I'm packing up? That's not fair. And then right down the end of it, you hear there were two doors, and the main one was closed. You hear the door on the other side close, as if they're going, oh, well, I'm out of here. And I thought, you mongrels, like, that is just not fair. So that was pretty interesting. But I'll quickly tell you a funny story. Sorry, I'm going off track, it's just come to my mind. I have ran paranormal tours before at an old hospital, and one time I walked into a dark room ahead of about 17 or 18 people behind me, and I walked in and I shone my torchlight, and for a split second I thought I saw a lady in a nurse's uniform, your old-fashioned white uniform with a little white hat they used to wear. And for some reason, I screamed like a girl. And here I am with 17 guests behind me, running down the hallway, going, like, just screaming. And then next thing you know, they're all running after me because I don't even know why they're running. It was when I was thinking about later, going, these people are paying money and here I am running around. Sorry. I don't know whether you've done something like that, but it's very funny.
To be fair, it sounds like a night at Barbara's work, to be honest.
Yeah. That sounds
Really?
People running and screaming and running away.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Barbara works at a very famous haunted attraction where people go to
nice.
get scared with all the actors and all the props.
Oh, one of those
spooked
places.
even.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
So the funniest thing is I went there during the day with my daughter and her little friend, and there wasn't even any dressed up anything. It was just sort of going around for a little under 12-year-old kids tour, and she just jumped out and basically said boo at me from around a corner, and I freaked. I was like, oh,
I didn't
gosh.
jump out. I was just standing at the door.
Well, Barbara, if I ever come over there, I'll go to your haunted location, and I won't need to wear a mask. I'll just stand there, and people look at me and scream and run away. They normally do. So I'm happy to provide that entertainment for you. Oh, sorry.
Ooh. So next question, I guess. Has there ever been a time where you've had a bad or unsettling feeling about a place and didn't want to investigate? So sort of similar to you, like shining a light and then running down the hall screaming with 17 other people going, is it a fire or?
Yeah, I wouldn't say a location. I'd say a room. I've been at certain places where I've gone to a room and said, for whatever reason, I just can't go in there. I call it the heebie-jeebies, when you just sort of go, oh, nah, I can't go in there. I'll stand outside or I'll stand in the doorway if some of you want to go in, but not necessarily a whole location. So to me, something has happened in there. What it is, maybe it's my sixth sense telling me don't go in there. Maybe there's an evil entity or something in there, but yeah.
I've had that before. I've gone and I've climbed a staircase and I could go left or right, and I just stand there for a minute and I go, not meant to go that way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going this way. And then later on you go, oh, now I can go that way. But right now I call it the heebs as well.
The heebs.
I went recently to Napier Prison, and I literally go and I just was walking down this corridor with all the cells, and I just stood there with the cells either side trying to feel, is this a room I want to go in because it's got something to tell me, or is this a room I just don't want to be part of? Yep. And I just sort of stand there and feel it, and then I decide which way I'm going to go and if I'm going to try and do some audio recordings or anything in there or whatever else. So yeah.
And some people can say that your spirit guides as well, giving you a warning.
I did that at Adelaide Jail. I went there and I was on one of the tours, and they'd said, look, you can go and take some toys to play with, some dowsing rods and bits and pieces, and go in any room you want. So I just sort of walked along and I went, yep, okay, this is the room I want to go in. And we got communication in there with complete skeptics in the group with me, and they're holding the dowsing rods going, what is going on? This is scary.
Love it.
Yeah, and it was great. So the answers we were getting actually correlated with when we said to the guides, okay, they said their initials are this, and they said they're from here, and this is what they said. And they said, okay, that correlates with this person and this story. It was quite exciting. It was quite cool.
So you've been at Adelaide, you're saying?
Yes, did a tour.
Obviously,
in Adelaide.
Okay, so you didn't actually, obviously you didn't drink the water because you're still with us.
Yeah.
Any Australians listening know exactly what I'm talking about. People in Adelaide are crazy because they drink the local water. For years it was literally brown. It was brown, and they drank it.
Well,
Yeah.
probably
Like
lots of
our
minerals.
white pedo beer.
Yeah, they just make it fizzy and call it beer over here, and it's done. It's fine.
Yeah. It's safer.
I thought that was your Cody's.
Oh,
Oh, you've only experienced like the 8%, not the 12%. They got rid of the 12. That caused a lot of problems.
Well, we call them, I believe we call them Woodstocks here, or Woodies.
Yep.
So they're
Yeah,
like
we've got them here too.
Oh, okay. So is that what your Cody's are as well? They're similar
Yeah.
to the Woodies? Okay, that's what I believe.
Yep.
So that's what
Yeah.
happens when you watch Police 10-7. You learn very quickly what your alcohol is.
24 pack of either of those, and yeah, you're definitely on Police 10-7.
There you go. That's exactly quite often they'll say how much you drink. Or a box of Cody's. And is it true you take your wooden crates in still?
Yeah.
And they fill them up
swap
with
a
beer?
crates.
Yeah,
Swap a
swap a
crate.
crate.
That's
Swap a
Crate day is
magnificent.
100 days from now, actually.
Really?
Fun
Can you make your own crates at home? Because that sounds like just take a whole lot of crates in and you're making money.
Could try.
I don't know. All right, Barb, have you got a question for us?
Sorry, I'm experiencing a storm at the moment, so I'm in and out of like sounds. So, but I do have a question. Have you or anyone you've investigated with ever experienced an animal reacting to something paranormal?
An animal?
Like a dog or cats or possum?
No.
Yowie.
Well, I've got a couple of mates that are yowies. They haven't showered and shaved for about 3 years. No, I've never sort of investigated and had an animal around. I have thought about taking my own dog to a couple of investigations because, as you know, animals are very sensitive. But he's an Italian greyhound. I don't know whether you know them. They're a tiny little greyhound sort of dog, and he's a real Velcro animal, and I don't want to freak him out too much. I think if I had a big scary dog like a Rottweiler or something, or a German Shepherd, but no, that's a good question. But no, unfortunately I can't say that I have. I've investigated locations where they've had birds inside the buildings or bats, and that scares the bejeebers out of you. But no, nothing like that. But do you have people that use animals over there?
I've not heard of anyone.
No.
No, I saw it on, I think it was Most Haunted. They took their dog in a couple of times. It was this little bulldog that could barely breathe. So I was thinking that's got to affect all the audio recordings a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think, it was on a podcast. I think it might have been the Dead Souls Social Club, because I love that podcast. That is an awesome podcast. I think they took a dog with them when they did an actual investigation as well. I think it was theirs. But it does seem to be a dog that people tend to take just to get it to walk around, sense, see if it picks anything, see if it's willing to lay down and rest and sleep, or if it's on edge or anything like that. But again, I do wonder whether that leads you as well. If the dog seems unsettled, is that going to lead you?
Yes.
As well. It may just be it's in a new place and it smells of the previous dog or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Did you wanna ask Tess's question online, Aimee?
What is it? You can ask it. You can read it for me.
I've got the next question. You don't have one, so I thought I'd be
you
nice
read Tess. You read Tess. Tess is my physical trainer. She's put me through my paces today, and I'm in pain. So let's hear her question.
Oh, sounds like she might put me in pain with the question.
Oh, she's lovely.
Ooh, maybe.
Right.
So this one is: in all your paranormal experiences to date, what has been your biggest learnings about the paranormal world and yourself as an investigator? So it's a curly-whirly one.
Yeah, that's a good question. And thank you, Tess. Probably the biggest thing about learning is like anything, you learn from your mistakes. And every time we go investigating, as you all know, you will learn something new every time. But my biggest learning curve would be make sure you investigate, do your history on the location, and make sure you investigate for the location. As in, if you're going to a location where there was a lot of child deaths, investigate to that. As in, don't go in and ask crazy questions that a child would not understand, or go in with a lot of noisy items that are going to set them off, scare them. You've got to remember these kids maybe died many, many years ago, and K2 meters are going to scare them by freaking them out. For example, a place we used to investigate a lot was a hospital, and there was a lot of child deaths there. So we weren't getting much communication, and we went there once and went, right, let's investigate to a child. And we took like colours, like blue, like a blue square and a yellow circle and a green triangle. And we would say, put the K2 meter next to it and say, light up the yellow triangle. And you'd move the K2 meter along in front of, you'd have like 4 K2 meters in front of each different shape and color. And on cue, you'd say, which is the yellow triangle, it would light up. So it's communicating to, well, not really your audience, but to the entities that have passed away there. That's a terrible word, audience, isn't it? We don't like them to play like they're circus animals. But I learn every time I investigate. I'll walk away from a location, I'll say, I did that really well. Nah, not doing that again.
Yeah.
And I like to try new stuff all the time. Otherwise it gets mundane. And that's why, for example, if I ever got to investigate with you three, I would just follow you and just see what you do. And what you do is not wrong or right. It's the way you do it. And I'd walk away from there and go, wow, Natasha did that. That is amazing. I'm going to try that.
I think we do that too, though. We're walking around going, that was a really clever idea. I'm going to remember that, and even when we have, we sometimes work with other investigators from around New Zealand and that sort of thing. It's really cool to see how they approach a communication session, or, what they put a lot more emphasis on than we might, because we're like, oh, I hadn't thought of doing that in this location or whatever. It's great. That's the exciting thing about this field. You're always learning, because there is no right answer. Everyone still keep going. It's cool.
For example, I don't like using a REM pod because they're noisy. They make that, and to me, an entity might just go near and go, oh, and jump a mile back and go, what's that? That's going to scare me. Generally, we're communicating with people that weren't around when these things were made. So to me, it's got to scare them.
Well, we had sort of thoughts about that at Kingseat, didn't we, Natasha? Kingseat is a mental institution that has shut down. That was quite famous. Do you want to share, Natasha?
Yeah, sort of my thoughts on it. We weren't getting any sort of readings or anything really off any meters and stuff. And probably the background is there was a electroconvulsive therapy there. So anything electric or anything to do with electricity is like, it's like taboo. It's like, no. They probably wouldn't react fondly to that. So that would probably more likely make them repel them rather than attract them. So probably going, old school with inanimate objects that didn't light up and didn't have all these flashing lights and things.
That's great idea.
Because it's pretty traumatic sort of experience for anyone that went through that. And I agree with the also the spirit boxes. Like, they tend to be very, very loud, and they just drown everything else out. So even if you did get a response to it or from it, it'd be very unlikely that you'd be able to record it, because you got that static of it switching through all the channels. And some of the locations we go to, we don't actually have any radio coverage, so they're essentially a box.
It's just white noise. And I suppose that was the spirit box to phase out the noise, just have one person with headphones listening to it, so it wouldn't freak the spirits out with that noise coming through. So there you go. I've just learnt something. So good idea about the power at an asylum. Yeah, definitely.
We
Just
just
sort of
got
think about it logically.
we just got one more question here online from Ria.
Sure.
She says, have you seen the Pantry Ghost documentary or heard about it? It's apparently one of the most compelling pieces of video evidence of real ghost manifestations. And do you have thoughts on it?
Is that the one when somebody hears a noise in the pantry and then they walk up and open it and then they close it and then they walk away? Yes. I'm a huge debunker, and I think we have to be with what we do.
Yeah.
With that one, it gave me chills. However, when you walk in, when that person walks into the pantry, they don't put the camera all the way around to the right, do they? And I've always thought, how do you know there's not a child hiding in there? And then when they walk away, you see that person come up and do that. So I can't answer whether it's true or not because we're not there. We didn't film it. Is it easy to set that up? Yes. Is it set up? I don't know, but it is scary. Very, very scary.
Yeah, I saw that on, I think it was Paranormal Caught on Camera.
Yes.
And it's a little game me and my daughter play. Like I said, she's 10. She sits, and I told her, so she wouldn't be scared, I said, now all of these are fake videos and our game is to work out how they're fake. And she sits there and she debunks them all. It's great.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But to answer that was that Ria, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Ria. These three girls will totally agree with me. Unfortunately, there's people out there that make fun of this industry, make fun of us, and they will do anything they can to try and make us look silly and stupid. And that is why a lot of Facebook groups I've removed myself from, because people put stuff on there which you just know it's so fake. And people go there, oh, I saw that person or I saw that. And you think, come on, what are you doing, people? So, yeah, you got to get that. And it's frustrating.
All right. One last question.
Yep.
Anyone got one?
Which one? There is two there.
Do your one.
Barbara can pick one.
She can't see them anyway.
She can't? No? Okay.
No, the last one I saw was Mark's one talking about his cat.
Oh, yeah?
But I think it's more the cats are scared of Mark.
Oh. Yeah, Mark lives in a house with a crazy cat lady ghost. So he gets responses from his cats in his house to the cat lady ghost. Yeah.
I can see one from Kelly, which is an interesting one, which she says, how did you cleanse your house?
Oh, just sage. Just sage, walk around in each room. You basically, you can do it any way you want. How I do it is you just firmly say, you are not welcome here, go away. And also do that, you're scaring me, you're making me feel uneasy, because sometimes they don't realise that. And as I think it was you that said it before, Natasha, that sometimes they just want to get your attention and they don't realise that they are scaring you. So you just say, look, you're scaring me, you're making me feel uneasy, you're making my family feel uneasy, and of course you got the sage smoke coming out to say, just go, just leave, you're not welcome here. And I find that works. Some people do it in a religious sense. You can read out quotes from the Bible if you are a religious person like that. There's no right or wrong. I think it's what you believe in. If what you believe in will overcome then the strength of your belief, if that makes sense. I've been known to swear at them too. I've been angry and said, when that teenage boy was here, before I got cleansed, I cleansed the house, I was swearing, saying, you're not welcome here. I'm really offended that you followed me home, and I'm not happy about it. Let them know, and they're probably, sorry, man, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm out of here. So,
I try and take the assumption that if you imagine there's actually a living flesh person in front of you, what would you tell them if they're squatting in your house and they're doing things in your house that you don't want them to do? You just sort of talk to them as if they literally are a physical person there,
Correct.
Because at some point that's my big thing. They will all want someone's loved one.
Correct. This is my house. This is not yours. Thank you for coming, but
Time to go.
POQ, as we say here in Australia. You obviously say it too.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's probably about all the punishing questions we need to give you tonight, Paranormal Paul. So
No, that
you've
is
been
such a
awesome.
cheesy name. It is. Look, it's a great name the radio station came up with. Well, in their sense, it is. You know, Paul is fine. So, but I appreciate it. And ladies, this has just been something special for me. I've really, really enjoyed it. Somebody picking my head for questions and ideas, and you know, and there's so many people out there that got a passion for this, and you know, and can I say something as well to your lovely listeners? If you're ever going to go and investigate a place, and I say this to people on my radio show all the time, just don't think you can walk in there with a K2 meter and think you're going to be a paranormal investigator. Go with people that have done it before, because you could go somewhere and it turns nasty very quickly. Make sure you look at the location you're going to. Make sure if you're going in the dark, you know there could be things you could trip over and fall over. Never go alone. Never, ever. It's like swimming. Never go alone. Go with at least 2-3 people, and never move far apart from each other. All right. Yep. But enjoy it. And if you go somewhere and nothing happens, it doesn't matter. They're not circus animals. They'll say hello if they want to.
Yeah, you appreciate the environment.
Absolutely. And always, whether you get any activity or not, always, whenever you walk out of a room or a location, thank them very much.
Yeah.
We respect you, and thank you very much for letting us come to try and communicate with you or communicate with you. And I'll tell you what, you treat them with respect. The next time you go back, they'll probably go, hey, there's those people. They were really nice last time. And they might say hello.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome. All right. Well, for some old hags like us, it's almost bedtime over here. So we'll let you go.
You say old. I bet you I'm older than you three.
Put together, or?
Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. There you go. That's what. That's why you could hearing before. It's my dog's toy. Yeah, just thought I'd have a bit of fun with that. And so all right, so I've got my really posh wedding shoes. So I'm going to wear that at Pawanui, which is have you heard of Brighton here in Melbourne?
Yeah,
Brighton. Is,
Yeah.
I'm from Brighton, and I drive my BMW. I'll wear these to that wedding. All right. I didn't tell you it was Shazza and Dazza's wedding too.
High end Kiwis, yeah.
Oh,
high end Kiwis.
Classy Kiwis.
If you want to meet the real Shazza and Dazza of Australia, you've got to watch a show called H.A.Gs.
Oh.
You've seen it?
I've seen it.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's been on.
I'll give the obvious credit for that one.
YouTube it if you haven't seen it. It's look, it's got a bit of foul language, but it's very, very funny. You got to. I won't give it away. It's just very, very funny, and you have the same humour as us. And can I just thank the gentleman or lady that pedalled very quickly for that long to give us the electricity to work off the satellite tonight. We really appreciate it here in Australia.
You mean Mr. Ernest Rutherford?
Yeah.
The guy who split the atom.
That's exactly right.
From New Zealand. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
And please don't use those Kiwi satellites again. They're no good. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And
thank you.
Once we're back on air, we'll have you back on my show.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right.
We're looking forward to that.
Thank you. Pleasure, ladies. See you later.
Ka
Good
kite.
night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.